All right, my man Scott and producer of Real Estate Investing with Jay Connor. It looks like we are live, right?
We are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. So, Scott, let me know when we have some folks starting to show up. They should be starting to show up pretty quickly as we ramp up. Just to let everybody know, if you happen to be watching the replay, my special guest today is going to be Glenn Stromberg, very good friend of mine, fellow mastermind member. And he's sitting in the green room right now, waiting to come out when we officially start the show. But we are going to be talking today about how to survive and thrive in the midst of coronavirus, and in fact, in the midst of any kind of crisis. And so as you are coming into the show today, you may be watching on Facebook or you may be watching on one of our YouTube channels. I'd love to know when or where people are tuning in from. So you'll notice in the comment section, in the comment bar below the video, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, I love to know where people are tuning in from. So as you come in, if you're already in and you haven't done it yet, everybody right now as you come in the comment section, I want you to just type in your name and let us know the city and state that you are tuning in from. So again, in the comment bar below the video, go ahead and type in your name and your city and state and where you're tuning in from. So if you're a first timer, I'm Jay Connor, known as the Private Money Authority, coming to you from Morehead City, North Carolina. And we're going to be starting up the official show here in just a moment. Now, during the show, while I have my special guest, Glenn Stromberg, on here, you'll be able to comment and you'll be able to ask questions. And Glenn will get your your questions answered. And I will too. So first of all, we got a big welcome here to Shakita Conley from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to the show. And we have Bill King. Hey, Bill, all the way from Naples, Florida. Welcome to the show, Bill. As you all are coming in, everybody, go to the comment bar below the video right here. And by the way, these instructions that I'm giving you work. And I want you to do, whether you're watching the live stream right now or you are watching the replay, but go right below the video, just type in your name, type in your city and state that you're tuning in from, and we love to hear from you. When we start the show here in just a moment with my special guest, Glenn Stromberg, you'll be able to ask questions and we'll get all of your questions answered. You're going to love my special guest. Glenn, he and I are in a mastermind together, and he's going to bring you information about real estate investing that I promise you have not heard anywhere. And in the context of today's show, we are going to be talking about coronavirus and how you can thrive and survive in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of a crisis. In fact, you're going to hear a very, very interesting story that just happened in the past week with Glenn about how his business is skyrocketed and exploding even here in the midst of coronavirus. So again, if you're just now coming into the show, be sure go below the video right now. Just type in your name and your city and state where you're tuning in from. We're going to be able to, you'll be able to comment and ask your questions after we get the show started here with Glenn, and we'll get all of your questions answered. Hey, Scott, come here to the forefront here with me. And yes, thank you, Scott. Everybody, please like and subscribe, whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on YouTube. So my producer, everybody, this is my producer, Scott Patton, that produces all of our podcast shows on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Prime, and et cetera. So, Scott, tell everybody, where are you broadcasting from today? Oh, we can't hear you, Scott. You got to unmute yourself.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. I'm in the city of Eternal Spring. It's Medellin, Colombia, and every day is like the ideal, perfect spring day. And I'm happy to say that I've got a big deck outside so I can get out into the sun and don't feel like I'm crammed in. But we're on total lockdown. We're allowed to leave twice a week to go to the grocery store, the bank, or the pharmacy. And
wow. That's even more stringent than where we are right now. You can go to the bank anytime you want to. You can go to the grocery store anytime you want to. But those are pretty much, the only essential items for most people to where they're going to.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got Dennis from Panama City Beach, Florida. Dennis, welcome to the show. You're getting ready to say something, Scott?
I was just going to say, it looks like everything is calm here, and well, everything is calm here, but I mean, in terms of the growth of the coronavirus and everything, doesn't look like it's rampaging through the country or anything like that. So it's hopefully in a couple of weeks, everything will calm down.
Excellent. Okay, well, it is 10 minutes after the hour. Again, if you're just joining us, you're welcome, Dennis. If you're just joining us, we really, really love and want to know where you're tuning in from. So in the comment bar below the video right now, whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay, let us know where you are coming from. In the comment bar below the video, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and type in your name and your city and your state and where you're tuning in from, because we really enjoy knowing where folks are coming from. And you'll be able to comment and ask questions as we start up the show. So, Scott, let's go ahead and kick this show off officially.
Here we go.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm your host, Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, coming to you from Morehead City, North Carolina. And if this is your first time to the show, here we talk about everything real estate investing and everything that relates to real estate investing. How to find the deals, all the different kinds of deals, land deals, single-family homes, self-storage, commercial deals. And today, in just a moment, I'm going to introduce my very, very special guest. We're in a mastermind group together. And this will be the very first time since we launched the show almost 2 years ago that I have had this particular niche, if you will, of real estate investing. You're going to love it. It's different. This gentleman is going to give you information on how to make money in real estate investing like you've never heard from anybody else. But before I bring him on in just a moment, I've got a free gift for everybody. So again, if you're new to the show, I'm Jay Conner, known as the Private Money Authority. And the reason I'm known as the Private Money Authority is because from 2003, when Carol Joy and I first started investing in single-family houses, until January 2009, we relied on the local banks and mortgage companies to fund our deals. And then on the third week of January 2009, I called up my banker to let him know that I had 2 deals under contract that represented over $100,000 in profit. And I learned on that call that I had been cut off from the banks. Well, that might relate to what we're going through right now, because I do know all the major hard money lenders, since we're in coronavirus territory right now. A lot of the major hard money lenders have stopped loaning money out. So I was cut off from the banks in January 2009, and I was introduced within 2 weeks of this. I was introduced to this wonderful world of private money. And what private money is not relying on banks or hard money lenders. Private money is doing business with individuals, people, borrowing money from their investment capital and from their retirement accounts. And so once I started using private money, in less than 3 months, I was able to raise over $2 million in private money. And as a result, in those first 12 months of being cut off from the bank, mine and Carol Joy's business tripled in the midst of uncertainty, crisis, and adversity. Because back then, that's when we had the global financial crisis going on. And it was a blessing in disguise. Here's my question to all of you, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, or you may be listening to our podcast on iTunes or on Google Play or elsewhere. In fact, if you are listening to iTunes or Google Play, be sure, and our YouTube, be sure and go below and subscribe, rate, and review. Subscribe, rate, and review. And so you don't miss out on this information and any future shows. So anyway, with that, it was just a huge blessing in disguise as we were going through that crisis back in 2009. Lessons learned that I got from that 2009, the principles are applying to today. You know, I had a choice. Do I want to quit or do I want to keep moving forward? And quitting was not an option for me. In fact, folks, write this down. It is impossible for you to fail. It is impossible for you to fail unless you choose to quit. You can't fail unless you quit. And so quitting wasn't an option for me. And so today, on today's show with my special guest, even though we're going to talk about his particular niche, we're going to be talking about this actually in the context of coronavirus. So before we bring him on, I want to introduce him to you. Now, if you're just coming to the show, hey there, Michael. Thank you for coming in. We got Michael Lamb on the show. If you're just joining us, folks, be sure and go to the comment bar below the video. We love to know where everyone is tuning in from. Be sure and type in your name and your city and state as to where you're tuning in from. I love to know where everybody's tuning in from. So right now, whether you're watching live or you are watching on the replay, go below the video, type in your name and your city and state, hit submit. We love to know where you're from. In just a moment, after I get my special guest started up here with me, you can ask any question during the broadcast. You can ask any question on the replay. We'll get your questions answered. So my special guest today, folks, is my good friend, Glenn Stromberg. And Glenn actually began his real estate investing career all the way back to 1982. Glenn's got me beat big time. I started my commercial investing. I've got a free and clear shopping center, and we actually started that and built it 22 years ago. But as far as my single family house business goes, we just started in 2003. Well, Glenn started back in 1982, and he figured out how to get to the top of the real estate game pretty quickly. And here's how. Glenn and I've got something big time important. In common. And that is Glenn was in the mobile home business. I was raised in the mobile home business. In fact, my father, Wallace Connor, had the largest retailing mobile home manufactured housing business in the nation up until the mid-'80s. Well, Glenn found himself owning and managing several Clayton home franchises, and he also ran a successful fix and flip business. So we got the mobile home business in common. So over his 37 years in the mobile home industry, wow, I didn't realize you were in it that long, Glenn. He developed the mobile home subdivisions. He owned a mobile home park, owned and operated many mobile home retail sales centers, as I did. And he bought and sold and he leased single family houses while he was in the mobile home business. So back in 2006, he developed the Stromberg Investment Group. And the mission of what he created was to be one of the best real estate investing businesses in the country. Now, like myself, Glenn, back in 2008, there was a crisis, took over the American economy, and that led Glenn to refining his business model as it did mine. And it led him to creating the current model, which is used by the Stromberg Investment Group. Here's what that looks like. It allows investors a safer option to investing and receiving higher returns without the high risk that Wall Street offers. And as you all know, right now, Wall Street, we've lost, as of today's show, a third of the value, right? So what Glenn offers is a much more stable, safer, high rate of return than, say, Wall Street. So Glenn, as of now, has got over 350 homes under management, and that's over 4 different states. Employs or deploys over $1 million in investment capital every month, and he closes on about 12 properties a month. His company offers investors lucrative passive turnkey options and also long-term lending opportunities. With that, folks, it is my distinct pleasure. I'm so excited to bring right here on the show live my friend Glenn Stromberg. Glenn, welcome to the show.
Jay, thank you so much.
Hello, producer Scott. I need your help. Glenn is all echoing. Have you got any suggestions, Scott, there for Glenn? So, Glenn, come back on and see if your echo is done or good.
Good night.
We got a lot of echo there, Scott. So, Scott, I'm going to let you take over and help Glenn there a second so we can get the interview going.
Try now.
Try it now. I think you're okay.
Better? Is that better?
Yes.
All right, good. All right.
You're good, Glenn. Glenn, we've had a bunch more people come in since I started introducing you. We've got, we got Andy West all the way. You're welcome, Andy. Thank you for coming in. We got Angela from Elon, North Carolina, and a bunch of others. So, folks, as you are coming in to the show, go right now below. My lands, we've got Regina just came in. So, Regina, welcome to the show. Go below the video and type in the comment bar your name and your city and state where you're tuning in from. We love to hear from you. And as Glenn and I are doing this interview, any question that you've got about what Glenn is talking about, just type your question in the comment bar below. We'll get all of your questions answered. So, Glenn, welcome to the show.
Jay, thank you so much for having me. It's really, really a pleasure to be with you. It really is.
You got you. So let's just go ahead and, get through with the spoiler alert. You're going to be talking now today about how people can earn high rates of return safely and securely by learning and investing in your turnkey opportunity. You do mobile home investments, right?
That is correct.
So give an overview of what your company and your business looks like.
Let me clarify this, because when people hear the word mobile home, most of the time they think of a single wide, mobile home in a mobile home park, right? That's not what we do. We're buying, the homes are already on land. It's primarily double wide manufactured homes, anywhere from 1,200 to 2,400 square feet. They're normally on a half an acre tract of land to an acre tract, and they're real estate. They have a deed of trust or a mortgage on them, depending on the state. And the quality of the construction is better than a lot of tract houses. They hold up, they appreciate. Case in point, we bought properties in Texas in 2012 that have more than doubled since 2012. So that's kind of a quick overview of what we do. And like you said, we're kindred spirits here, Jay. I haven't used a bank in over 15 years. I don't use banks. I don't like them. I would much rather create win-win situations with our investors, and we do that. Our investors are totally passive. We provide them double-digit returns. They provide the capital. We provide the expertise, and we create win-win situations. So
that's awesome. We got a bunch more people tuning in. We got Tom Holyfield from Michigan. We got Lewis coming in from Houston, Texas. So, folks, today on the show we have got Glenn Stromberg, who is in the manufactured housing, is the actual official term. Most people know it as the mobile home business. And so when we say mobile home business, Glenn, are you, so what are you doing with the business? I mean, what does your business model look like as an operator?
Yeah. And first of all, let me clarify why I do. First of all, mobile homes and manufactured homes, those terms are synonymous. Okay. So whichever one we talk about, it's really the same thing. I think the industry just changed it to make it sound better with manufactured homes. But I truly believe it's the best kept secret in real estate investing. And here's why. I have very little competition in what I do. There's some big operators out there that buy mobile home parks all around the country, but I run into very few people that are buying the same properties that we buy, that are, they're already on land. And our model pretty much is to buy them. We fix them up like new carpet, new paint, new air conditioning, new appliances. We fix them up like new. We put a tenant in it. We professionally property manage it. We're very good at the property management side, and our investors are 100% passive. We always tell our investors they got to be able to do two things. They got to be able to wire the money to the title company, and they got to look at their statement that the money's there every month. That's all they got to do. We do the rest.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long have you been actually doing this business model?
This current model since 2006.
Since 2006. That's awesome. And you're in 4 different states, and you said your investors get double returns. So here we are, Glenn, in the midst of the coronavirus. I actually think we're about 45 minutes into a 2-hour movie, is my guess. But here we are in the midst of the coronavirus. How about share with everybody, how are you going about your business? What are you experiencing? What are you hearing from your private lenders? What are you seeing while we're, in the midst of this crisis that actually is still unfolding?
Yeah, and obviously some people are getting hurt. A lot of my investors are dentists, and they're pretty much shut down, out of business right now, right? It's kind of a spooky time for them. But on the other side of it it's been amazing to me. We actually sold 9 turnkey properties last week, and I'm getting more and more calls from people who are getting out of the stock market, who I've talked to in the past, and other people that just because I think they really like our asset class too, because it is affordable housing. I always say this: people are going to, no matter how bad the economy gets, and yes, we got some tough times right now, there's no doubt about it. People are going to eat first and then have a roof over their head second, and we have the most affordable roof. So our leasing department is being blown up right now. We're busy with investors. We're getting a lot of investor interest, and also from a leasing point of view, it's a lot of people there's a lot more people applying right now than there were, and there's always been a bunch.
So your occupants, are they rent to own buyers, or is it just straight out tenants?
Straight out tenants, just straight. We just do straight leasing. And the reason there's a lot of reasons, and seller financing is good, rent to own is good, all that stuff can be good, right? We just chose to be an expert in one field, and that's what we want to do. We want to do the rental business, and the reason is we prefer to hold the properties, right? I believe that to really benefit from everything that real estate has to offer, you've got to hold the property for a while to build wealth, right? Your tax advantages, the appreciation, the rent increases. So, case in point, if I would have sold all those properties in Texas, back in 2012, I would have missed tons of upside and tons of monthly income. So we prefer the rental business. That's our model.
If you're just tuning in with us, my special guest today is Glenn Stromberg, and Glenn's expertise and niche is actually in the manufactured housing business, also known as the mobile home business. These are multi-sections, or double wides, if you will, that are on permanent foundations that are that are on land. And so if you're just now joining us on the live stream here on Facebook or YouTube, please go right now below the video in the comment bar and type in your name and your city and state. Type in your name and your city and state. We love to see where everybody is tuning in from. Also, any questions that come to mind, type your questions or your comments in the bar below, and we'll get those questions answered. So I got a big question for you, Glenn, and that is, why did you choose this business model? What is it about totally 100% focusing on manufactured housing, mobile homes, versus traditional site-built single-family houses?
Well, I guess I look at it, I was very blessed. In 1982, I answered an ad out of the paper that said, to sell mobile homes, you make $100,000 a year. And that was, $100,000 is a lot of money in 1982. You
got that right.
And I was able to do that. So I got in the manufactured housing business. I loved it, and I found out there was a real specialty niche to it. And as it evolved, they put them on land. They started making them real property, and I saw to where I like to be where other people aren't, right? I think there's niches and riches. I've heard that saying. I'm sure a lot of your listeners have, and I believe that to be true. You and I are in a mastermind group, right? And you know how much money the guys spend on postcards to develop leads, right? Well, we don't have to do that. We call those guys and say, give us your throwaway mobile home leads, and we'll pay you $1,000 if we convert the sale. And they send them to us all day long. And so
nice.
So we're still buying properties off MLS. We market realtors too. We market realtors because they don't want to list a $30,000 mobile home and make 3% commission on it, right? So, we let them know that we'll, if it meets our criteria, we'll buy it. You get both sides of it. They're quick, easy, and we probably buy 3-4 houses a month from realtors too. And so it's just a whole lot easier to buy the properties. The beauty of it too is it's usually about a third to half of the cost, depending on the area of a single family house. And proportionally, the rents are much higher. Our cash flows are much higher than a single family house. So the numbers work a whole lot better too. That's why I prefer manufactured homes, mobile homes versus single family homes.
Right. So you're investing in 4 different states right now. So just pick any area that comes to mind as relates to this question. In any particular area, what is the median price of a single family house versus what is the median price of a double wide mobile home on land? And once you answer that question, what would the rent be for that median price single family house, and what rent can you get for the double wide on land?
Great question. And I'll just use the Dallas-Fort Worth area here because that's where I'm here. That's the one I'm most familiar with. It's easiest for me. So in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you're buying a 2,000 square foot brick house, you're probably going to be paying somewhere in the vicinity of $300,000 for it now. If you're getting a 2,000 square foot double wide manufactured home, the ones that we buy, we're probably going to be all in that house for 90 to 105. The brick house is going to get it's $1 a foot here. It's $2,000. I'll get $2,000 rent. We're probably going to get $1,400 rent for the.
Wow. So you invest a third. You invest a third of the money from your private lenders. Right. You invest a third of the money, but you get 2/3 of the return of the $300,000 median price house.
That's why I love my business model.
That's awesome. Well, you answered one of my questions, and that is, you partly answered one of my questions, and that is, how do you find these deals? So before we recap that, Glenn, I just want to let everybody know that's tuning into the show, you may be just coming onto the live stream right now on Facebook, or you may be coming in on YouTube. If you are coming in on the live stream, we'd love to know where you're tuning in from. Go below the video right now and type in your name and your city and state that you're tuning in from. We'd love to know where everybody's from. And any questions that you have for Glenn, we can get your questions answered. So Glenn, you touched on it, but what are all the different ways that you can find these deals for double wides on land?
Like I said, Jay, they're on MLS #1. We still buy there. We still buy a lot of houses there. We buy on the HUD bid list. We buy at auction sales. We buy there. We already talked about, we market real estate investors for the throwaway mobile home leads. And we also market real estate agents to let them know that, if for pocket listings, you want to sell it fast and so forth, we're your company. We'll do it. If they meet our criteria, we'll buy it. And probably the only other thing that we do is we get a lot of bang for our buck this way is we just put up bandit signs. We put up bandit signs where the homes are, just fast cash for your mobile home on land. And we buy houses that way too. So those are the primary ways that we buy our properties.
Okay, excellent. So Glenn, let's talk for a moment about perspective and mindset. Here we are in the midst of coronavirus. Let's talk about, what are you doing different, or maybe not different? What advice do you have for our audience here as to how to continue on and actually grow your business while this crisis is going on?
Another great question. We've taken the stance that it's business as usual for us. It really is. We're not dependent on banks. As you know, the capital markets across the United States are frozen right now. The banks aren't lending. They're kind of froze. Probably the only thing we're doing different is when we're putting in offers, we're lowering our prices right now to see where the market's going to, right? We believe that prices will come down from now, the next 120 days. We believe, because the capital markets are froze, we believe that the prices will come down. But no, we're operating as usual. We're buying houses, we're fixing them up, we're putting tenants in them, we're getting investors purchasing them. So I believe this, Jay, I really do. There's always, I've actually built our model to be able to be what I consider a recession-proof type model, right? And I believe in every crisis, there's always a great wealth transfer. Unfortunately, people that depend on banks, I think, they're going to have some troubles coming up here, right? But when you've got private money and investors that understand the opportunities and they understand it's a better place than the stock market to invest in hard assets. And I think the other thing that's going to happen is, it sure did in 2008, I think it weeds out about 75% of the people who, maybe needed to be weeded out anyway, who don't do business right, or just, the strong will survive and the weak will go away. And there'll be a purging during the coronavirus too. I believe that.
There's no question about that. I mean, within the last 3 weeks, the liquidity for our business is gone. It's dried up. The investment capital is gone, except from private money. In the last 2 weeks, I have had hundreds of thousands of dollars of new private money. To be exact, I won't be vague. I got one private lender had $200,000 with me prior to this coronavirus thing. And then as recent as 3 weeks ago, he contacted me. He says, Jay, I got $300,000 more I want to put with you, because I sure don't want to put it in the stock market right now. Yep. I got another lady that's reached out to me that's got $1.6 million in cash, and she's looking to deploy those funds and doesn't want to put it in the stock market. And Glenn, what are you hearing from your private lenders right now in the midst of coronavirus?
Same thing. I mean, I'm getting more calls than ever. People that are saying, "Man, I'm getting out of the stock market," and 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 really that's what happened in 2008 too. A lot of people waited till they lost half their money, unfortunately. But I think people are, they're sensing this one's different. And no, I'm getting way more calls now than I was before the coronavirus.
Excellent. If you've just tuned in with us, my special guest today is Glenn Stromberg, creator of the Stromberg Investment Group. He's out of Dallas, Texas, and he is in the niche of manufactured housing, double wides on land, and he gives his investors double-digit returns, and that's what we're talking with him about today. Glenn, we've got an audience member that has submitted a question, and it's Vince. And Vince says, hey, I'm down the road from Glenn in Sugar Land, Texas. Glenn, do you buy down here too?
If my geography is correct, Sugar Land's down by Houston, I believe. And we are expanding to Houston. We were waiting for a market reset to go to Houston. I was just in Houston last week. So I was the Houston area, that whole surrounding area. Yes, it's a great area for what we do.
Awesome. Well, there's so many opportunities, Glenn, that are going to be affording themselves to us in the midst of this coronavirus. I agree with you. We will see prices come down. When it will start, I don't know. It hasn't started here. I mean, my lands, and I've got more single family houses under contract right now to sell and buy simultaneously than I've ever had simultaneously since I started this in 2003. However, if things do not turn around within the next few weeks pretty quickly, I'm convinced that will change, and there will be opportunities to buy deep. I mean, opportunities to buy deep. And of course, here's the deal, folks. Things are different, so you got to be different. We have to adapt, with the times. Glenn, here in the midst of coronavirus, are you experiencing, are you and your team experiencing needing or having to communicate with your sellers in a different way? I.e., are your sellers doing any virtual tours of their homes, or is your team still able to go in people's houses?
We've still been able to go to other people's houses. We do a lot of stuff on the internet anyway. We do a lot of virtual tours, I guess, on the internet anyway. As far as before we ever go out there, but no, we're pretty much still business as usual. They haven't clamped down yet because housing is one of the necessities, right? So they haven't clamped down yet, and so no, we're pressing forward like we always have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Glenn, I asked you before we started the show if you had a gift that you'd like to give my audience, and I know you do. So tell them about your gift and how they can get it.
I would love to. It's called Private Lender's Secret. I co-authored it with a good friend of mine, David Phelps. It talks about our business model, which basically is using private money, private lenders, and I'm so glad that I made that switch when I did. Once again, I haven't used a bank in 15 years, and I would be very happy to send it. I appreciate everyone on the show. Be very happy to send them a free copy. I do it two ways. If they want to send for the freight, they can do that, or if they want to pay for it, it goes to a charity. If they want to spend money for it, but I'd be happy to give a free gift to everybody. And I think it's a pretty good read, and I think you'll get some good ideas. I'll get some good ideas from it. That's
great. So how do they get the free book?
I believe if they go to my website, there it is, www.stromberginvestmentgroup.com. Just say they saw me on Jay Conner's show, and we'll get them a free book.
That's awesome. Thank you for that offer, Glenn. I appreciate that very much. Glenn, parting comments.
Yes. I would encourage, everyone listening, and this comes from, it's funny when you introduced me, I go, man, I'm old. I go, but I've seen 3 cycles now. Okay. And I truly believe the greatest opportunities are in down markets. Okay. I built my team for this climate, really, because we know in the next couple of years, the buying opportunities will be off the charts. They're going to be off the charts for those who have the money, who have the systems and the processes in place. And so, I think I would say to your listeners, just have the mindset that you're going to do it, right? Don't buy into. I don't watch the news. I'm not listening to that stuff no more. I think you're getting the fetal position. Listen to news too much. But I think if those who do business right, who hit it hard, who have the private money behind them, I think they're going to prosper, and there's going to, like I said, there's going to be a great wealth transfer coming up here. So that's my advice.
Excellent advice, Glenn. Thank you so much, Glenn, for taking the time to be on the show with me today.
Thank you, Jay, for having me. And you're an awesome man. You're a good friend and an awesome man. I appreciate you. Okay.
Thank you. You too. With that, folks, thank you so much for joining in. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, wishing you all the best. Here's to taking your business to the next level. All right, everybody, that finishes the official show for all of you that are still here live. And Glenn, I know I still got you live. So we've got another show going live, everybody, here in 43. Yeah, in 18 minutes. So at 3 p.m. Eastern time, all of you all. Hey, Scott. Producer Scott, we're going to have is it a different StreamYard link?
It is a different StreamYard link. So if you're on Facebook, just refresh or scroll down and you should see that it says it's going to start in 15 minutes. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe and go to our page under live, and you should see it right there.
Yeah, and if you're on YouTube, everybody, go right now to the top. And you'll see a little bell. So subscribe, and you'll see a little bell. You can tap that bell, folks, and you will be notified every time that I go live. Now, just because you're notified doesn't mean you got to tune in, but at least you'll be notified when I'm live, and you got the option on not missing out on the special guests that I've got. So again, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and tap the bell, and you'll be notified every time we go live. I mean, I don't know of a more important time, folks, for you to be tuning in and getting all the up-to-date information that you can while we're in the midst of this coronavirus thing. If you're on Facebook, be sure and like us as well, and follow us, and more importantly, follow us, and you'll be notified there when we go live as well. So again, Scott, tell them one more time how to tune in for the 3 o'clock show. In fact, the 3 o'clock show we have coming on, 3 o'clock show, I've got Ryan Chaw, and Ryan's niche is all about advice on how to help a brand new real estate investor that's never done a real estate investing deal before, how to watch out for the mines and etc. And so anyway, Ryan Shaw, this will be his first time on the show. So for all of you all right now that are tuning in, let's see, we got a question from Vince. Vince says, can you type in Glenn's URL one more time? So yes, Vince, producer Scott can type in Glenn. There it is. So it's his URL is www.stromberginvestmentgroup.com. And you can take advantage of his information and getting his book. So thank you all of your viewers and audience members for tuning in. I'll see you live in 15 minutes for our next show with Ryan Chaw. And Glenn, thank you again so much for being here, man, for taking time out from your business.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it, Jay. Thank you for having me. Seriously.
I always enjoy being with you. And I guess you know, because I think you and I were on the Mastermind Zoom meeting this past Friday, our next Mastermind meeting is going to be virtual.
That's what they said. So yeah, but I think there's gonna be a lot more virtual stuff out there. These next, we were very fortunate too because our team is virtual to start with. That's how we run our business. So
hey, look, last week I was a guest speaker at a virtual real estate investing conference, and during my 90-minute presentation, I had over 1,200 people live.
Wow.
Watching the presentation. And that conference was only expecting between 400 and 500 individuals in person in Las Vegas. They switched it over to virtual, had over 1,200 people show up for all 3 days.
I got a feeling there's going to be a trend there.
I think so. And well, my next live event, June 10, 11, and 12, we've already converted it over to virtual. So there you go. So, hey, by the way, folks, all of y'all that are here live on the live stream, I'll just go ahead and give you, Scott, go ahead and put up my live event URL that is here for the show. There it is. So June 10, 11, and 12, folks, you can go there and register for free. jayconner.com, jayconner.com, jayconner.com/live event. And that will give you 2 free tickets to attend the virtual live event that we got. On my lands, here is Max Keller in the flesh. You see what Max says, Glenn? Glenn for El Presidente.
I was just getting ready to text him, but I don't have to now. That's funny.
Hey, by the way, Max, I gotta give a shout out to Max Keller, folks. I gotta give a shout out to Max Keller. Max Keller has got one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know on the planet. You need to go seek out Max Keller's podcast. In fact, Max, if you're still here on the live stream with us, type in the chat, type in the comments, the name of your podcast, because you have got an awesome podcast. The content and the information that you're giving out is so inspirational and encouraging and offering hope to everybody. And I don't see him typing it in, so Max may have already left us. Anyway, search for Max Keller and his podcast. Unless you know what it is.
Top of my head, no, but I could vouch for Max. He's like you said, he's a great guy, great heart, and he does a lot of good stuff. He really does. So
yeah. So again, everybody, producer Scott had it up there. You want 2 free tickets to my upcoming live event that's going to be virtual. I teach all 4 pillars of my business: how to find deals, how to get them funded with private money, how to sell them fast, and how to automate the business. We'll be having virtual private lender sessions. You'll be able to network with private lenders. That's jayconner, jayconner.com/live event. Well, Glenn, I'm going to get ready for the next show.
Very good. Once again, Jay, thank you very much. Scott, appreciate you guys. And like I said, keep up the great work, man. You're awesome. Okay.
All right. Thank you much. See you, Glenn. Bye-bye.